System Shock 2. Released in 1999 through the combined efforts of Looking Glass Studios and Irrational Games, the critically acclaimed sequel to System Shock transcends genre specification. More than an action shooter, System Shock 2 incorporates elements of role-playing, survival horror, and even platforming, and it's all set against the backdrop of a universe rich in both oral and visual detail, along with a vibrant story whose echoes can be heard even today. Critics lauded the game. Future game developers would cite it for inspiration behind their own works. Many gamers, including myself, have System Shock 2 on a short list of favorite games, transcendental titles that are an absolute pleasure to play. Unfortunately, System Shock 2 followed too closely in the footsteps of its predecessor. While not a commercial failure, the sequel only achieved passable sales. Up until this year, I would have argued that it was a cult classic. However, the game's release on both Good Old Games as well as Steam have exposed it to a new generation of gamers, those who've seen BioShock and perhaps wondered about its spiritual predecessor. My personal experience with the game is far-reaching. While I am self-confessed strategy gamer, I love System Shock 2. I first played it in 1999 and it has been a sporadic staple throughout my life. It is, or I suppose rather now has been, on the very brief list of games I ever wanted to showcase for this hobby. And this introduction marks the beginning of a series I will immensely enjoy. But enough of the history lesson, let's get to the specifics. I don't know System Shock 2 forwards and backwards, and I won't be finding every cyber module. But you don't need every cyber module to win on Impossible, and that's my difficulty of choice.
Grimith, what's so special about Impossible?
There are 4 difficulty levels in this game. Each has an impact on your hit points, your psi points, replicator costs, enemy loot drop chances, and most importantly, cyber module costs. For the uninitiated, cyber modules are a limited resource you use to upgrade your abilities and skills. They're handed out as quest rewards, but you can also find them scattered across the game. System Shock 2 rewards exploration, so long as you can survive the challenges that come with it. In essence, my character will be incredibly vulnerable, and I will have to be exceptionally frugal with my resources. The second conduct concerns the character creation process. You can win this game in a myriad of ways, but those ways are limited. On Impossible, before the game proper starts, you have an opportunity to customize your character by choosing his career path, affecting your starting abilities and skills. Rather than min-max my choices, I'll be rolling a 1d6 on each of my branching paths. Longtime viewers of my channel know how unlucky I am in video games, and the random chance will result in a play experience I cannot prepare for, which will be an exceptional pain, especially if I roll OSA. They're primarily psi users, at least at the start, and again, for the uninitiated, psi powers are like magic spells, and psi is your mana. Only you can't recharge psi just by resting. On Impossible difficulty, becoming a dedicated psi user, or at least starting off as one, is a headache I do not want while recording live commentary. Straight shooting standard weapons on Impossible is challenging enough. If you fail to properly manage your psionics, then you will end up in an unwinnable situation. Once my character has been created, though, I'm free to spend my cyber modules however I see fit. I thought about crippling myself more, perhaps even removing my ability to use psi at all, but I don't want to... At least I don't think I want to go so extreme when I can't fully focus on the game. The same is true for the 4 OS stations I'll encounter, although I may change my mind, we'll see. My third conduct actually pertains to my commentary. To further constrain myself, I will try my hardest to roleplay in character during the game. This will both add a creative flavor to the series and prevent me from doing crazy in-game shenanigans I'd otherwise have no business doing without prior knowledge of events. Such as collecting worms in beakers before it makes sense to do so, or punching in numbers to keypads that my character has no business knowing. Yeah, collecting worms. We'll get to that. I think that about covers the conducts, though. Finally, it's worth mentioning that I will be playing the good old games version of System Shock 2. I do have the original CD, but really in my testing, the GOG version was more stable. Consequently, I'm not playing the pure version of the game. It is modified. These modifications come with the GOG version for graphics and better playability on modern operating systems. That shouldn't be much of a problem, but I wanted to make sure you knew. Playing games unmodified, or at least close to unmodified as possible, is something I care about. Anyway, let's get on with it.